have. As we hop into Yansu, we see right away, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, the red Protoss player representing Team Liquid. His name is Hero.
Funkadelic Zoom, represent.
Just a single rotation on the Funkazoom. He doesn't go for that double rotation.
He doesn't go crazy yet. We're in the round of 16 after all, man.
Nice to keep it simple.
Funka's saving the fireworks for a later stage of this tournament.
Hero's opponent up at the top right-hand corner of the map, currently leading 1-0. His name is SOS.
And what's going on over here, man? SOS with the 9 scout, or even before that? This is the quickest scout I've ever seen in PvP.
Will there be a forge going down?
This was quicker than a 9 scout. Yeah, I think actually you're onto something. This must be the case. We're going to see a forge SOS, and Hero knows about this threat, of course. This has been something that multiple Protoss players have done throughout WCS, especially Genius. Still no forge? Perhaps he's worried about the forge of Hero?
Yeah, maybe SOS.
Oh, it's double gas steal. The Hero is like, not today. So Hero takes his first gas immediately, even though that throws off his build order a little bit, but now he knows SOS sacrificed resources to do this. So this is not all that bad for Hero.
Interesting.
SOS still didn't throw down a gate or a forge or anything.
Or an assimilator even.
Yeah. Well, that's the assimilator on the side of SOS.
Yeah.
On Hero's map.
But he's got no gas in his main, so what are you thinking?
He's taking gas long distance mining to the next level. He's just going to mine throughout the entire game of Hero's main. Just send over the probe train. Just steals like 24 gas out of the assimilator and backs off. And actually it lined this is so cute.
Steal minerals for days. He's going to steal some minerals, he's going to steal some gas.
And Hero's like, stay up, man. It's my money. It's my gas.
And if SOS is able to mine enough for a single High Templar, that may make the difference in the game.
This is so funny. SOS, you're crazy. Hero has his first Zealot in production, as of course he wants to take care of that assimilator, as he doesn't want SOS or that free scout in his main base for a while. Meanwhile, SOS just keeps stealing minerals, puts it back into the assimilator, steals a little bit again, starts stealing minerals again. Man, Hero must be so mad about this.
This is the worst kind of theft, because he doesn't take those resources home and use them. He just takes them into the assimilator and
he destroys them. He doesn't care about the ecosystem over here, man. He just keeps using it, keeps throwing it away. SOS is not a man of recycling.
No, man, he's littering all over Hero's base.
He is trying to bring the gas to Hero's main, though, but then he realizes it doesn't work. He's like, I got this green box.
Let me in.
I come in peace. Here's a green box.
And finally, SOS is going to run back home.
Interesting opening over here. SOS obviously wanted to do something crazy with the WL assimilator steal. What I think he perhaps wanted to do, Ben, is steal both assimilators and then proxy a Stargate, as crazy as that sounds, because that means there will be no gas for a Mothership Core or a lot of Stalkers early on, and a single Voider or maybe an Oracle could have shut down everything in Hero's base. That's not the case, so that didn't work out. Taking a look at the work account now, it's pretty even. It's 22 against 22.
Yeah, so SOS's investment slows down the gas economy of Hero, but that's about all it does.
3-gate aggression over here by Hero. Hero's going to go back to a build that we've seen him use multiple times. There is a Stargate behind this, so he is definitely able to transition out of this, but it's still possible that if he finds a window of opportunity, if he finds a weak spot in SOS's defenses, that he's going to go all out with the 3-gate.
And we've seen many Protoss players try to do things like applying pressure at the front with the 3-gate while sending oracles into the back. That can be a very effective way to harass your opponent's economy while also forcing him to dedicate units to a defense at the front.
You know, Ben, a best of 5 always sounds long, but the moment you're going down 2-0 in the PvP series, it's starting to look a little dicey.
Hero doesn't want that to happen as we see him getting ready to establish that forward pylon.
I find it interesting that SOS is the one that's getting aggressive over here.
Could be asking for trouble.
He's only on 2 gates, so he has to be very careful. He does have the Mothership Core with him, but he's definitely going to need a photon overcharge at home. He will get sentries, Oracle in production now for Hero as well. This is going to be a very interesting phase of this game. And SOS, you have to be careful because you're playing with fire.
And not willing to walk up that ramp. Whoa, Hero, what are you doing?
Okay, he's going to walk in 3 Stalkers over here, but it's all going to be a little late. SOS putting units already. And if he's going to drop forces, he's still going to lose probes over here. And of course, those units from SOS are still out on the map as well. This is a risky commitment here by Hero, but I do kind of...
SOS recall back home.
I think it's very smart, because he needed the DPS to take care of these pylons.
What am I feeling right now, man? I feel like Hero just threw away 200 minerals is honestly the gist of it.
Hero
Will he be
delayed his
able
attack a lot as
to,
well. He does have an Oracle out on the map, and that Oracle is going to fly into the main base. There won't be a photon overcharge soon. This Oracle could definitely be a game changer. Don't reveal the Oracle, Hero.
Nice play from Hero, catching a few units. So a single Stalker gets squeezed through. The Oracle's going to fight at the front and takes a lot of damage. Will not go down. Hero working on the Nexus in the natural, and it will be canceled. So a small victory there for Hero. 46 supply to 40. Hero's army is respectable, but not maybe the most terrifying thing we've ever seen. Is Zealot does squeeze through, but he's immediately dealt with.
Hero really doesn't have to continue this aggression, man, so I would like he did it. There's an Oracle in the main mineral line right now, but I do think it's getting dealt with a couple of Stalkers. How many kills does that Oracle have? I believe it's well, it's 5. That's still pretty damn good in a PvP 1 base against 1 base scenario. Small worker advantage now for Hero, and he also has a soft contain on SOS, as SOS doesn't know if Hero has a sentry there. And now he does know that he has a sentry there.
Oracle's still dancing around. Could give Hero some extra damage output if he wants to try and crash that ramp. I do not think that he will.
These guys are playing PvP at such a ridiculous level. The build orders are all over the place, and that's just, you want to be unpredictable. You want to try to surprise your opponent non-stop. Once more Oracle is going to fly into the main base. SOS will be able to push it away and make sure he won't lose a single probe. He's going to send a probe down.
Worst job in the world for that probe.
This hallucinated Phoenix is going to be pretty important. It will identify that Hero is transitioning. Hero is going to have to back off soon. He knows there is a Twilight Consort in the back of SOS's base. He knows that most likely Blink will be on the way. Of course, he hasn't been scouting it for a while, but he knows it's there. And I think he's going to drop a force field soon and just march to his side of the map. And then produce as many Immortals as he can and try to stabilize the 2 bases.
Hero's expansion, of course, much faster than the expansion of SOS, which
this is turning out pretty great for Hero, man.
It should work out in the long run. Of course, it's very difficult to attack into Immortals, but Blink Stalkers, well, they can get things done.
Yeah, but you know, the moment that SOS decides to wipe in a lot of Blink Stalkers, man, it's a massive commitment and saying, I'm going to have to deal a lot of damage over here because I'm already behind in economy, and if I'm investing now in units that I'm going to have to throw away in the long run anyways, or that are just not going to be that strong, he's putting himself in a really awkward position. So I don't think he's going to commit too much to Blink Stalkers, and he's just going to chrono boost out as many probes as possible and try to make something happen with that.
Here's that 4-Stalker hit squad.
Yeah, Hero's aware of it already. They're already sending units in the right position. Hero is like, not today, young man. Oracle's going to fly into the main once more. There are a couple of units here for SOS, but they're slightly out of position. This Oracle, man.
Notice it. He's walking on these Stalkers on the other side of the map. He will get a couple probe kills, but it's going to cost him some probes of his own, although not that many.
Pretty good so far. These
Stalkers
are
great for SOS.
Yeah, these Stalkers are very expendable. Might even be able to get the money support now. That would be too easy. But he might be able to save 2 of them. Then again, that's a far Blink as well. Man, did you see those guys?
Killed 9.
Those guys were a part of the track and field team in high school.
Navy SEALs.
I would love to be a Navy SEAL. Every now and then I have a dream that I'm a complete badass.
Man, you know how hard it is to become a Navy SEAL?
Yeah,
it's like the worst training in the world.
Hero's getting Blink on his own, Ben, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. Of course, who am I to ever question Hero's decision making? But unless he wants to be very aggressive with 2 base Blink Stalkers and Immortals, I think there were other options that would have been better in this phase of the game. Blink is always a safe choice in saying like, hey, I'm going to be able to defend with most of the things that you throw at me, but it's also an investment that you can skip, and if you can go through that phase without losing anything, you basically save yourself resources that you can invest into maybe High Templars, additional Immortals, or Colossus, which I think would have been a better choice.
Couple of sentries doing cleanup on SOS's side of the map, get this pylon out of there so he doesn't have to worry about more warbits from Hero. Supply-wise, pretty even game, and economically, also a pretty even game. 42 harvesters to 41 harvesters. The count, the incomes, virtually identical.
This is the 2nd game on the row where the openings are completely different, where we have a lot of action, where we often see PvP games end already, and these players just somehow stabilize at the roughly 13-minute mark in this game, which is just...
This time it's Hero with a slight supply lead, although SOS has gotten much faster upgrades. +2's already on the way.
SOS is going to find a single Zealot over there as well as Hero tries to take control of the Zealot Watchtower. Vision is everything. Of course, you do have those hallucinated Phoenixes to scout all the time, but controlling a Zealot Watchtower is one of those things that just gives you a peaceful state of mind. Oh, SOS is going to have to be careful here because Hero's Blink is about to finish up as well. I think SOS was very confused there, man, by what he saw. He saw like, what? 7, 8 stalkers in this phase of the game. Have you been making additional stalkers? Because he knew, of course, there were a lot of stalkers on his top side of the map already, but I think he was quite confused with it.
Fun fact about SOS, Kev. He once won first place in the Asian Indoor Martial Arts Games, which means if Hero beats him,
mess with him,
he might get kicked in the face.
I wouldn't want to mess with SOS, in game or out of game.
Don't mess around, man.
He's way too scary on both sides.
He and Violet should get together and spar one day.
I think SOS is more badass than Violet. I like Violet a lot.
But he's a little rusty, out of shape.
Small stalker engagement over here, and I think SOS knows what's going on. He's like, you're going to try to do the same thing as I did. Forward blink, we'll be able to pick off one of the stalkers here from SOS.
Great micro from Hero, actually. Just completely wins that micro fight. Ultimately inconsequential, but the moral victory goes to Hero and his troops.
Support as well, man. These stalkers can go home and tell the Immortals, like, hey, if you guys just defeat their Immortals, we've been dealing with their stalkers. We got their number. This is how you arrange these little skirmishes, man, these little brawls. Everyone gets the guy from his size, and if everyone wins their battle, then they win the game.
It's going to be a Dark Shrine for Hero, so perhaps some DT harass in the cards here. His +2 also on the way.
Hero gets his defensive cannons very early on. I noticed his last game as well. He moved up tackle and waist while he was getting his defensive cannons. And of course I can understand it because, you know, being on the other side of the map and right in that moment, if DT is walking your base, it's almost game over. You're guaranteed to lose 15 to 25 probes. And there's just almost nothing you can do anymore. But still, you can see SOS perhaps playing a little risky and waiting a little longer with those cannons does, you know, allow him to use those resources a little different as well.
120 supply against 130 supply. SOS has powered ahead. If we take a look at the units tab, we can see these two armies are pretty neck and neck. 4 Mortals to 4, 3 Archons to 4. Stalker and Zealot counts more or less the same.
Can completely go either way. It's a very even game, as you said. SOS, his third base was a little bit quicker, as I felt. You know, upgrades are even, bad armies are even. The Dark Templars might be able to deal quite a bit of damage, as we just pointed out. SOS likes to delay those cannons a little bit. We do see one cannon going down over there, but I think, you know, that's about it. There's no cannon in the third base yet. There's no cannon in the natural either.
Oh, man,
there's just a cannon in the main.
Flies right over an SOS pylon. It's going to make it hard for these Zealots to get anything down there. I'm still going to unload the main base, but the Prism is going to have to fly away. Meanwhile, SOS unloading in the main base of Hero. These guys' timings are just ridiculous.
SOS is a lot of gateways though, man. That's a very big Zealot warp in, and Hero's going to need a little more to deal with that, but he does get a Dark Templar. That's very smart. But still, even this one DT is going to have his work cut out. A big recall there by Hero.
The recall. It's kind of crazy. Costly. A little bit of harassment here. Meanwhile, though, Hero's got DTs in the main base of SOS, and how much damage are these guys going to do? Cannons being warped in. And ultimately, they will finish and grant some detection, but some excellent damage being dealt here by... Oh, he's calling him a little... I think he's not going to be able to kill it, though.
And then he's going to be able to kill this Immortal that quickly. What he might be able to do is warp in more Dark Templars in either the natural or in the third base. He has that Warp Prism. We can see the Warp Prism flying into the natural there as well. Big Zealot warping here by Hero. I'm not sure if this was a great investment.
Oh, if he loses the Prism, it's going to be very painful, but it does skirt away. Zealots in the natural get dealt with at the same time. Whoa, what is this hit squad in the middle of the map?
Yeah, I think that Hero was thinking about trying to snipe the third base. He did manage to pick up that Warp Prism, so that's a good job there by SOS. SOS is once more been kind of stabilizing and putting himself in a reasonable position.
Yeah, Hero's having a hard time. It feels like he's just playing a little bit slower than SOS. This single Dark Templar stayed alive in the main base, and he's going to get a couple more pro kills before it gets picked off. So he was quite the ninja in the end.
Yeah, which is good, because Hero definitely needed that. He needed something to justify that investment just a little more. Armies moving out in the middle of the map. It's an extremely even game, army supply-wise. 7 Immortals, 8 Archons against 6 Immortals, 6 Archons. But by the time that SOS is really able to commit into attack, I think Hero should be able to get in a couple of additional units out as well. SOS did have a 20 army supply lead. I was a little bit surprised by that because I felt it was closer than that. I'm not sure if it's really something he can capitalize on. He has 1 Immortal more. How are the upgrades? The upgrades are, as far as I know, pretty damn even. Both players have +3. No armor upgrades as of yet.
And it's really all about the Archon count right now, Kevin. It's 10 Archons for SOS, only 7 for Hero. Making Zealots would be silly for anybody. What is this? What is it? Archon drop. You don't see that every day.
could definitely mess things up, because often you see people warp in as zealots to deal with these kind of drops. I like the 4 stalkers on the left side of the map as well, Ben. SOS is once more going to create 2 problems at once, maybe even 3. This just makes him such a fantastic Rose player. Hero never has to just keep track and warm army. Now he's forcing a massive defensive warp in, which maybe allows SOS to go on and attack the 3rd base, which would be a big commitment, but it's possible.
Oh, this lonely pylon. SOS is going to take that out. Meanwhile,
Hero's not ready to deal with this fight, man. Hero doesn't know that this army is coming.
he's positioned okay.
But he doesn't have everything there. SOS does pretty much have everything. 13 Archons against 8.
That's a big difference. And here we go. SOS is going to commit the attack. 2 good time warps going down, but both players with good concaves. And the numbers for SOS are just so superior. Hero's trying to warp in a flank, sending Zealots in from the right side. Might this be enough to swing the battle?
It's a very even fight. We see SOS retreating for now. Hero with a beautiful concave on his own, and those additional Zealots definitely helped out. Now SOS comes in with a lot of additional Zealots. One Immortal gets kind of caught out of position, but I still think Hero should be able to stabilize over here.
The position of SOS has become a little bit superior, although that Archon prevents those force fields from really doing much. It's 126 supply to 144. Oh, look at this. Warp Prism in the main base. Right now, unused. Hero's just going to park some Zealots underneath.
Now Hero's like, I'm going to need all the Zealots at home. I'm just going to warp in 2 Stalkers. That's rather surprising.
Hero's Stalkers. We're going to try that chase.
That makes a little more sense, man.
Notices it immediately and moves that Prism. Here comes SOS once more. 150 supply to 146. This Archon needs to meet up with his buddies, as SOS is going to pick another fight. There's so many Immortals on both sides. The Archons of Hero are out of position, trying to get into the front.
Hero's harassing on the other side of the map now as well. I think with his warp prism, warping in a few Zealot. That's crazy, Hero. You might actually need these units at home. SOS is going to go for another big offensive warp in.
Supply-wise, SOS is pulling way ahead. Kev 150 to 130. The Nexus soon to be under fire. 4 Zealots harassing on this side of the map. Hero might lose this Nexus. It is going to go down. The Immortals and the Archons with just way too much damage output. SOS will back off after sniping that Nexus, realizing that he needs to go home and deal with this.
Oh, he lost the Dark Shrine as well, so he can't drop in any Dark Templars anymore. That's so sad for Hero, because DTs in this phase, in this situation, would have been absolutely fantastic. Not a single cannon there. There is an Observer, of course.
Constant warp-ins from both of these players. The main army of SOS, though, has arrived. Hero will pick up as much as he can.
Such a great game of Starcraft over here. I'm loving what I see, man, from both players. SOS once more slowly but steady pulling ahead, though, and Hero is not playing poorly at all. It's just SOS with a lot of cute and very good small moves, which are putting him slightly ahead.
Massive army supply lead right now for SOS. Up 40 supply overall, and I think there's almost all in the army. 80 army supply to 123. That is desperate times for Liquid Hero. What does he need to do to get back in this thing?
I think he just needs time, man. He did drop a Robo Bay as far as I know. He's once more going to try to go for the Archon drop. I, of course, would like to remind everyone as well, there's a TVT going on the main stream between Bomber and MMA. That should be a 6 series. So if you guys have double monitor, it's time to utilize it.
Time to bust it out. Oh, the Prism gets focused and it was just barely going to stay alive.
Actually, Hero lost the natural. He's just been not mining very much money, and it just feels like suddenly everything snowballed a little bit out of control. Hero going for a defensive warp in here, but this army of SOS is just terrifying. It's so strong, it's so big, it's so intimidating. There's an upgrade advantage for him as well.
Archon count is just through the roof for SOS right now. Warp Prism will take some fire, but should manage to get away safely. Hero doing a good job of positionally using his spells and forcing SOS to question committing to any sort of fight.
SOS is just playing beautiful Starcraft over here, Ben. He's reminding us once more, this is the monster that we used to watch in Pro League all the time, carrying Woojing Stars to the playoffs, winning the regular league. Him and Sulky were just like the cornerstones of that team, and now he's just looking great once more. It's been a while. He's going to go in for the kill over here in game number 2 here on Yamsu. You think he might be able to do it, Ben?
I think this could be the final moments here. The army supplies of SOS stand high. Hero's army melting away. Too many Immortals, too many Archons, and SOS moments away from taking a 2-0 lead in this series. Hero trying to micro with his Prism, but it doesn't matter. GG gets called.